In this video, I'm going to turn the characters from Poppy Playtime 4 into terrifying creatures. In my last Poppy Playtime video, we created the 5 main characters from Chapter 4. But today, we're taking things to the next level because we're going to make them scary. And the first one we're transforming is Baba Chops. To do that, I need to defeat this spider because I'm going to turn it into the terrifying version of Baba Chops. So let's jump into the program and start our transformation. Alright, I have Baba Chops here, and I also have the spider model ready to edit. The first thing I'm going to do is remove all these extra parts from the spider. Now that I've cleared it out, I'll bring Baba Chops into the scene, select everything, and rotate his model 180 degrees. I'll tilt him just a bit like this because my idea is to merge Baba Chops with spider legs. Now, I'll take his head, rotate it slightly, move his hands lower, and open up these legs in a creepier way. Next, I'm going to erase these 2 middle legs and add a new one on this side. I'll move this one forward a bit and position these exactly like this. Then, I'll create a base for his body and add a leg dropping down here. I'll do the same on the other side. And in the front, I'll add another pair. Now to make him even scarier, I'll add red streaks coming from his eyes like he's been possessed. I also created a custom animation for him. When he's idle, he just stands there, but when he attacks, he suddenly snaps toward you in a terrifying movement. And just like that, Baba Chops has turned into a spider. Look at him, he's terrifying just seeing him crawl toward you. Wow, this is seriously scary. Imagine if this creature was actually in Poppy Playtime and it could drop spiders on you, Matt. It would be so much scarier than the original version. And you know what's even creepier? There's a theory that Baba Chops was once a child in Poppy Playtime. Doesn't he kind of look like he could be Prototype's child? What do you think? Comment below. Now, I want to see what it would be like if Baba Chops attacked us in total darkness. So, I'm going to apply the blindness effect. Oh no, he's coming straight for us. This is absolutely terrifying. For me, this is a solid 10 out of 10 on the fear scale, but I want to know your rating. How scary do you think this version of Baba Chops is? Let me know. Now let's see which version is stronger, the regular Baba Chops or the spider version. I'm going to spawn a few doughies and let them battle it out. And here they go. Whoa, that was brutal. The regular Baba Chops didn't even stand a chance. The scary version won instantly. But now that we've created this new Baba Chops, he needs a proper habitat. If you haven't seen my last video, I built a habitat for Baba Chops, where I added the names of subscribers inside the game. It looked just like a regular room from Poppy Playtime, but for the scary version, we're going to make something way creepier. First, I'll dig out a new section. Then I'll use the same colors, build a wall up to here, and cover the top with bricks. For this horror version, the prison cells will be damaged and broken open. There will be bloodstains, and parts of the ceiling will be collapsing. To make it even scarier, the door will be completely red, giving it a dangerous look. I'll design a reinforced prison cell just to make it feel like something dangerous was locked inside. In the previous version, I used redstone dust to make the floor look bloody. But in this video, I installed custom mods that allow me to place actual tombstones and even more realistic bloodstains. This is starting to creep me out, even while building it. Now, inside the cells, I'll add even more blood details. For the walls, I'll place mossy cobblestone and some aged blocks to make the whole place feel old and abandoned. For the floor, I'll use this dark-colored block and extend it from here to here. Now, this really looks way more terrifying than the original room. I'll just add a few final details, and then I'll show you the finished spider lair. Alright, here it is, the new home of the spider Baba Chops. But remember, just like any mob in Minecraft, if you don't name it, it will disappear. So I'm going to name them after some subscribers who completed the challenge from the last video. The first subscriber I'm naming is Catherine Joy Pablito, who added my channel's profile picture to their account. And the second name will be XCD-U8E, who also completed the challenge. Now that Baba Chops is officially transformed, make sure to leave your rating. And stay tuned because I'll explain how you can be in the next video, so keep watching. Up next, we're going to create Pianosaurus. In my last video, I turned the Ravager into Pianosaurus, but today, I need to find another strong animal to transform. I think I've got the perfect idea. I'm going to turn a goat into Pianosaurus. That way, it will be able to charge at us with its horns. Alright, here I am with Pianosaurus, and the first thing I'm going to do is open up a section of his body. Because I want to add a spike here, I'll do this in multiple parts of his body. For example, I want to add sharp spikes where his fingers are. I'll also add some extra details around them, some on his back, and I'll open up this section of his side as well. Now, with all these cuts and openings, he's starting to look fully exposed and terrifying. Now I'll go in and place a sharp spike in each of these sections. One on the back, one on each side, and one right here as well. Now I'll select his head and slightly tilt it to the side, giving him a creepier posture. For his eyes, I'll give them a red glow to make them look extra menacing. Now let's move to his mouth. I'll remove all his original teeth and paint the entire inside bright red, as if his mouth is wide open and bleeding. And now I'll add sharp, eerie-looking teeth, along with a long creepy tongue. And just like that, the new version of Pianosaurus is complete. Now let's see how he moves. When he's walking, he'll move like this. When he attacks, he'll leap forward suddenly, just like he's lunging at us. And when he's idle, he just stands still, looking terrifying. And now, right in front of us, we have the GOAT Pianosaurus. He's fully transformed, and wow, just look at him. This one I'd give a fear rating of 8 out of 10. But what do you think? Comment your rating below. Now, let's see which version is stronger, the original Pianosaurus or this new nightmare version. Here we go, and oh no, the new Pianosaurus didn't stand a chance because, well, he's stuck in the body of a goat. But that's okay, because a lot of you asked me why I never built a habitat for Pianosaurus. So this time, I'm going to build one. Alright, I'm back to build the habitat for Pianosaurus. For this, I want to make something that looks like a haunted theater. So for the floor, I'll cover everything with stripped wood planks. In this section here, I'll create a stage. But since this is a horror version, I want it to look abandoned and eerie. So I'll use these special blocks to create a damaged effect. Next, I'll build walls all around it. And for the ceiling, I'll cover everything with black blocks. Now I'm going to use mini blocks to break some pieces of the floor so it looks like the wood is falling apart. Now, let's add some details. First, I'll place an old piano on the stage. Then, I'll add bloodstains around the walls to make it look even creepier. Next, I'll place a few candles, almost like chalices, to give the room a more haunted vibe. I'll also add some broken wood planks scattered around to make it feel even more abandoned. Now, let's place moss patches on the floor and a few sharp, jagged spikes around the edges. For the finishing touch, I'll add soul sand to the ground, so it has that eerie, mystical effect. And finally, I'll place a few mangrove roots because they look withered and broken, perfect for making the place feel old and forgotten. And just like that, Pianosaurus's habitat is complete. Now, I've placed him inside, and I want you to tell me, does this match his style? Comment your thoughts below. Now, I need to give him a name, and I'll name him Jason Obera. That's because this subscriber has been watching the channel a lot and even set their profile picture to match mine. And now that we've completed this haunted theater, it's time for your challenge. If you want to be featured in the next video, here's what you need to do. Watch this video all the way through, leave a like, share it with a friend. Once you've done that, comment, "Forkin, I did it, I left a like." And if you do, you'll have a chance to be in the next video. And up next, we're going to create Nightmare Doughy. At the end of the game, when Doughy gets angry, he transforms into his nightmare version. In my last video, I turned Doughy into a sniffer, but a lot of you suggested that I should make him a warden instead, because the warden is the strongest monster in Minecraft, and honestly, I think that would be perfect for Doughy's new form. So let's jump into the program and start building his nightmare version. Alright, I'm here in the program with normal Doughy, and the first thing we're going to do is move his hat to the side. Then, we'll do the same with his arms and even his face. Now, we'll erase everything else because we won't be using it. So now I've switched to a new project, and the first thing we'll add is the base for Doughy's new body. Now I'll take one of these hands and move it right over here. I also adjusted the texture, and now it looks like this. Next, I'll place another hand on the left side, and another one on the upper left side. Then one here, one on this side, and finally, one right here. Now, let's work on the face. I'll create a special shape for Doughy's new eerie face. Then, I'll copy this section and move it over here to create the face of one of the 3 children. I think this one is Jack. Now, let's add his little arms. Next, we'll do the same for Matey. And finally, we'll add Kevin, who is the most aggressive one. But correct me if I'm wrong. So now that everything is in place, I just need to paint the details. I painted Doughy's arms and I gave his face a creepier look. It's not 100% original like in Poppy Playtime. Otherwise, the color would be more blue. And now, check out the new warden version. Wow, good thing this place is full of animals. Otherwise, he'd be chasing me down. Look at him. Oh my goodness. And since he's a warden, he darkens everything around him. Whoa, he almost completely drained my health. And honestly, in my opinion, this version is way scarier. I actually feel really bad that Doughy turned into this monster because I really liked his original form. Now I want to know your opinion. Do you think Doughy survived the press, or do you think he died? I personally think he survived, but let me know what you think in the comments. As for my scary rating, I'm giving this a solid 10 out of 10. Now we need to build his habitat. In the last video, I built a safe zone that looked like Doughy's playroom, but since I transformed him into a warden, this is going to be a big challenge, because I'll have to cover everything in wool to muffle the sound so it doesn't leak out. The new arena we're going to build is the battle zone, where we fight Doughy in the game. It's a wooden structure with a jackhammer in the center, so I'll add that right here. First, I'll cover the entire floor with podzol and grass patches. Then, I'll create the climbing areas, just like in the game. I'll repeat the same process on the other side. Then I'll add wooden planks in different places to match the original layout. The only problem is that I don't have a lot of space to work with, so it's hard to make it exactly like the game, but I'll do my best. Now let's build the machine that Doughy stands on during the fight. Since we don't have much space, I'll make a small version of it. Now for the control booth, I'll build a small platform just like this. Then I'll add some extra pods all around it for decoration. And that's it. I also added a few final details, and now the Warden's battle arena is complete. It's a little small, but at least it's original. I also covered the walls in wool so that the Warden's sound waves don't leak out. And now I'm going to add the name of the person who suggested turning Doughy into a Warden, and that person is Jomel Gwagira. So now both Doughy and his battle zone have been transformed, and next, the penultimate character we'll make is Dr. Harley Sawyer. In a previous video, I turned him into a witch, but this time, I want to make him a futuristic robot that destroys everything in its path, and since he's super powerful, I'm going to turn him into an iron golem. So let's jump into the program and start creating him. Alright, I'm here with the iron golem and also with Dr. Sawyer, and the first thing I'm going to do is paint the entire iron golem with this dark gray color. Once that's done, I'll rotate his body like this. And now I'll erase his head and place it right here, just like this. Next, I'll shrink the legs, rotate them a bit like this, and make them slightly wider. Now, I'll adjust the torso, making it shorter. I'll also rotate it a little more and scale it down a bit. Then, I'll rotate the arm in this position, add a smaller cube on top and a larger one underneath. Now, I'll duplicate this shape and place it on the other side. Now let's work on the textures. I started texturing the whole body, and so far it looks something like this. I also added some angry eyebrows, giving him a more intense expression. Next, I'll extend part of his head downward because I want to add sharp teeth. I'll place the teeth right here, and now I'll add something creepy, like blood leaking from his eye or maybe a vein popping out. Now let's build his hands. I'll start by adding a cube here, then another on this side, then another on the right. For an extra mechanical effect, I'll make it look like wires are sticking out. I'll add some red wires, some yellow ones, and also a few blue ones, since those are the main wire colors. Now I don't want his body to look too plain. Since in the original design, he wears a cloak, I'll add a similar cloak and layer it several times to give it a 3D effect. And to finish it off, I'm going to add a minigun on his head. Now he's done. Here's how he looks, super intimidating. And the best part is that since I was the one who built him, he'll always protect me. Look at this. I'll let a zombie attack me, and watch how he fights back. He's an iron golem of justice. Now let's rate the design. I don't think he's too scary, but he does have a really cool look. So for scariness, I'd give him a 6 out of 10. But for design, he's a definite 10 out of 10. But since our goal was to make him scary, he didn't turn out as terrifying as I expected. Now let's test his strength. Let's see who's more powerful. 3 original Dr. Harley Sawyers, or the witch version. And since he's an iron golem, the others didn't even stand a chance. Now let's build his habitat. I want to create a futuristic style room. So let's take him over here and start designing his new lab. For the walls, I'll paint them in these futuristic colors, and for the ceiling, I'll use a sci-fi looking block, placing a few of them on the floor as well. Next, I'll add some glass panels here, and now I want to build a structure that looks like a chamber for experiments, so I'll place a base here, kind of like a science tube where experiments take place. I'll repeat the same thing on the other side, so it really looks like a lab. Now let's add details. I'll place torches around the room to give it a scientific atmosphere. Then, I'll add monitors between each chamber to make it look more high-tech. And of course, we have to add some blood. And just like that, Dr. Sawyer's lab is complete. Now, we only have one left to go, Yarnaby, and he's already pretty terrifying, especially when he opens his mouth. But I want to make him even worse, a true nightmare version. So I'll evolve him into a Zoglin mutation. Let's jump into the program and create our final transformation. Alright, to create Yarnaby, I decided to turn him into a nightmare version. So the first thing I did was move his legs to the sides, open his mouth, and give him possessed-looking eyes. I also recolored his hair, making it lighter, as if he were an ancient being. And now, the Zoglin has officially transformed into the newly evolved version of Yarnaby, Yarnaby Nightmare. And look at him now. Damn, he's charging at me. I think this version is way scarier. Let's fight him and see what happens. For scariness, I'll give him an 8 out of 10. He looks really cool, but there were some mobs that were even better, like Doughy, which looked just like the one from Poppy Playtime, and Baba Chops, which was just insane. Now let's test his strength. Which one is stronger, Yarnaby Nightmare or, yep, for sure, it's Yarnaby, the Ascendant. He's way stronger than the other version. Now let's move him out of here, because it's time to build his final habitat. For Yarnaby's room, I want it to be filled with chains and have a dark, eerie atmosphere. So, for the floor, I'll use this block here. For the walls, I'll use this block because it looks amazing and give the room a terrifying feel. Then I'll place these blocks on the walls in some areas to add even more detail. Now, let's add some old fences around the room to make it feel aged and abandoned. And of course, we can't forget the chains. I'll hang them like this. Now, let's add something even creepier. I'm going to place some characters that look like they've been, let's just say, defeated by Yarnaby. I'll position them right here, and I'll also add a few skulls hanging from the chains. Now I'll put some spider webs around to make the place feel even more abandoned. And of course, I'll add some bloodstains all over the place. Now, it's time to spawn Yarnaby inside his new lair, and the final name I'm giving this character is Sonia Paz. And just like that, we've transformed every single character into a terrifying nightmare. If you enjoyed this, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and check out this next video that's popping up on your screen right now.